I had been with Clara, the Oscar-winning actress, for 5 years, and together we had a son. But in all that time, I remained the hidden lover, the secret she could never acknowledge. One evening, our child became ill, so we rushed him to the hospital. As we arrived, we suddenly ran into a crowd of paparazzi. Without a second thought, she abandoned me and our son, fleeing the scene. I was left alone, struggling to manage our feverish child in the chaos. The following day, Clara addressed the media, stating clearly that there was no secret marriage, no boyfriend, and certainly no child. Looking at the screen, at her face so confidently delivering the lie, a profound exhaustion washed over me. I went back to the house we shared, packed my bags, and left with my son. As we were leaving, my son looked up at me and asked, "Daddy, aren't we going to tell Auntie Clara?" My eyes started to burn. He was 4 years old, and he still wasn't allowed to call Clara Mom. He didn't even know that the woman he called Auntie was, in fact, his mother. I fought back my tears and managed to say, "No, Auntie Clara is just like any other aunt. She has a very busy job, so let's not bother her." We then drove to a parents' event at his kindergarten. When we arrived, the teacher glanced behind me. "Is Leo's mom not coming again?" she asked. I replied awkwardly, "She's very busy with work, teacher. This is the only Children's Day celebration all year." At the event, I tried to explain further. "I'm sorry, Leo's mom is working abroad right now. She couldn't make it back in time." The teacher simply walked away. During the activities, every other child was accompanied by both their mother and father. Only Leo had just me. I did everything I could to cheer him up, but he remained quiet and wasn't very enthusiastic. After it was over, he asked, "Dad, is Mom still in Africa?" I told him she was. "Yeah, she's filming a documentary there." Leo's eyes lit up. "When is she coming back?" I paused for a moment before answering softly, "In a little while." Sometime before, when Leo had first asked about his mother, I had casually invented a story about her being an actress who traveled the world for her job. Leo believed me completely. He would watch television every day and ask, "Dad, is that Mom on the screen?" And I would lie, "Yes, it is. Isn't your mom amazing?" Leo would cheer, "Mom is so cool." Around 1 in the morning, a slight noise from downstairs woke me up. I opened my eyes groggily and felt a gentle kiss on my forehead from a pair of warm lips. "You're awake? Go back to sleep." A woman's voice, soft and magnetic, whispered. The dim nightlight illuminated her flawless face. I looked up and met her smiling eyes. Clara gave me another kiss, and then leaned over to kiss Leo on the cheek as well. I couldn't stop myself from asking, "Didn't you say you'd be home early today?" Clara stood up and took off her coat. "I ran into Director Zhang, who I've been wanting to meet for a long time. It just took a while," she explained. She carelessly tossed her coat onto the carpet and unzipped her dress, revealing her graceful neckline. She laughed softly. "Who?" she asked, wrapping her arms around me. "Don't worry, it was a woman, the best female director in the country." I just said, "Oh," because I wasn't surprised. It wasn't another man who could easily sway her, but an opportunity for her career certainly could. On a day as important as Children's Day, she wouldn't delay seeing our son for another man, but she would for her work. I was used to it by then. She stayed until 4 in the morning before rushing off again. The next day, our son found an earring she had left behind and asked, "Dad, did Auntie Clara come over last night?" I nodded. "She came especially to celebrate Children's Day with you. You were sound asleep, so she didn't want to wake you." He pouted. "Next time, you should wake me up. I won't fall asleep. Mom doesn't come home, and Auntie Clara works so hard to be with me. I want to play with Auntie Clara." I forced a smile and said, "Okay." I couldn't bring myself to tell him that Auntie Clara was his real mother. I used washing the dishes as an excuse to hide the expression on my face. If I told anyone that the famous actress visited her secret lover and child in the middle of the night, squeezed in between her demanding schedule only to leave for work again at 4 in the morning, everyone would praise her as a dedicated woman. I told myself many times that she was already doing enough, and that I shouldn't ask for more. But the sense of loss, the deep emptiness and bitterness inside me, just kept growing. After giving Leo his breakfast, I dropped him off at kindergarten and drove to my job at a local photo studio. I spent the day mechanically taking passport photos for people. It was an endless cycle of repetition. Customers would praise my technical skills, and I would force a tired smile before resting at my desk. My eyes drifted over to a copy of a geography magazine on my desk, and a dull ache started deep inside me. I met Clara 7 years ago. Back then, I was an optimistic and carefree college student who loved outdoor sports and photography. I was full of energy, and my dream was to graduate, become a professional photographer, and travel the world documenting wildlife. I never imagined I would become a fan of a celebrity, but it wasn't an obsession. It was love at first sight. At the time, Clara was just a rookie who had recently entered the entertainment industry. She had gained some recognition from a popular role in a period drama and came to our university for a promotional tour. A friend of mine dragged me along to see it and take some pictures. Clara was dazzling on stage, and I found I couldn't take my eyes off her. The host of the event randomly invited a member of the audience to come on stage for an interactive segment. It felt like fate when she pointed at me as I was moving through the crowd with my camera. "Hi, student," she said. On stage, Clara was wearing a white V-neck dress. She smiled and extended her hand, her eyes friendly and approachable, like a popular senior student. My heart skipped a beat, and despite usually being confident, I started sweating nervously. I put my camera away, reached out my hand, and stammered, "Hi." As our palms touched, it felt like an electric shock. I swear I heard the sound of a seed falling into the earth, though I didn't know what kind of flower it was, or what its name was. After the event, I eagerly looked up all of Clara's work and was completely blown away by her singing and acting abilities. She was far more talented than many established actors. I felt that such a talent deserved to be recognized. So, I edited some of her performance clips and created a social media account where I wrote detailed analysis pieces. Her small group of fans quickly found me and started gathering under my posts. I shared the photos I had taken of her, and everyone praised them. Someone suggested, "Hey, you take amazing photos. You should become a stand-in fan photographer for her, and we'll support you." Carried away by the enthusiasm of the moment, I agreed. Just like that, I unexpectedly became Clara's fan photographer, chasing after her with my camera in hand. I went from being a casual admirer to a hardcore superfan in a way that felt completely natural. Looking back, I still find it hard to understand how it all happened. Before meeting Clara, I was never interested in celebrities or the fan scene. But within a few months, I had transformed into one of her most dedicated supporters. 7 months later, just as Clara's career was beginning to take off, she faced a major setback due to a wave of negative press. She was effectively sidelined by her company for a year and a half, and her fans slowly started to drift away. Those who stayed did so quietly, while looking for other idols to support. But I remained constant. Initially, her manager had been the one to handle communication with fans like me. But during that difficult period, the manager seemed to lose faith in Clara and handed my contact information over to her so she could connect with me directly. Throughout that year and a half, we chatted frequently and became good friends, offering each other support as strangers who had become companions. I continued to update her fan site consistently. To gather new material, we started meeting in person. By that time, Clara had shed her idol persona and was comfortable with having personal interactions with her fans. I didn't have much money to offer, but I provided technical support. I did her makeup, took her photos, edited her videos, and even helped her find small gigs. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. Clara was deeply appreciative, often telling me, "Ethan, you're my rock. I don't know how I would handle all of this without you." Her words, especially when I was feeling exhausted, made me feel empowered. If there had been a war, I probably would have picked up a rifle and cleared any obstacles in her path without a second thought. I believed I was her guardian angel, meant to save her. She seemed so small and vulnerable, and I felt that if even I abandoned her, she would have nothing left. A year and a half later, the celebrity who had initially insulted Clara was embroiled in his own scandals. It was revealed that he had been the one to verbally abuse Clara first, which had provoked her response. With that, Clara's name was cleared, and fans flocked back to her social media, full of apologies. Her company lifted its ban and started giving her new opportunities. She seized the chance, transitioned from television to movies, and her fame skyrocketed. After one awards ceremony, she came home and placed a small golden trophy in my hands, saying, "Ethan, this is our shared glory." Holding it together, we hugged each other tightly. Throughout that year and a half, Clara never stopped pushing for her career, working tirelessly with acting coaches and industry professionals. Even after facing countless rejections, she never gave up. She only ever showed her tears to me, and the next day, she would be back to chasing her dreams. Whenever she could, she had me help her practice her acting. I rehearsed lines with her, acted as her audience, and gave her feedback. From start to finish, she never compromised her values or her dreams. My feelings for Clara began with her beauty, grew with her talent, and finally deepened because of her character. During those difficult times, her resilience, the way she got back up every time she was knocked down, made me admire her even more. It made me fall for her. We connected on a deep level, sharing outdoor adventures, long conversations, struggles, laughter, and eventually, love. Our coming together felt like a natural progression. I eventually realized that the seeds of our relationship sown the day we met had blossomed into love. The flower of our love was now in full bloom, bright yet fragile. Clara's career resurgence brought new challenges to our relationship. If she had remained relatively unknown, being with her publicly wouldn't have been an issue. But as her star ascended and she won her first Best Actress award faster than anyone had expected, more investments and powerful connections came flooding in. She had the potential to achieve even greater heights. At that moment, her boyfriend, an outsider with no industry connections, became unsuitable. I suggested that we should break up, but Clara disagreed. We were both in pain, not wanting to let go but feeling as though reality was giving us no other choice. The shining facade of our love began to fade, revealing a camellia, pure, beautiful, and fragrant, but with an underlying hint of bitterness. We struggled with this for a while, and just as we were nearing a breakup, we found out she was pregnant. She pulled out a beautiful ring and proposed to me. "Let's get married," she said. Even though she explained she couldn't legally marry me just yet, she swore that I would be the only man in her life. Her words were sincere and deeply touching. At this pivotal moment in her career, she had just barely transitioned from being an idol to an acclaimed actress, and her status was still uncertain. Even having a boyfriend, let alone a child, could cause irreparable harm to her career. She must have truly loved me. and I loved her too, so I agreed. "This is great, Ethan. We're having a baby," she beamed. I smiled too, filled with a simple and pure happiness. Just because we were having a child together, that joy turned us into two fools. I naively thought that we would just have to wait a little while. Once her career stabilized, I would be able to step into the light. Because we couldn't reveal our relationship, I could only let her go through her pregnancy unmarried. At such a critical point in her career, she even asked me to keep it a secret from my own parents. My parents were furious when they found out Clara was pregnant, and that I was insistent on keeping the baby. They threatened to disown me. A whirlwind of fights, tears, and emotional tug-of-war followed. In the end, I remained steadfast by Clara's side, moving into her villa as her hidden lover. Clara got busier and busier as her career boomed, winning numerous awards and gaining nationwide fame. I felt a confusing mix of pride and anguish. For the sake of her career, I had estranged myself from my family. For her career, she left to go back to work right after giving birth, and I had to act like it was perfectly fine, telling her to go ahead. For her career, I fabricated a story about a mother in Africa for our child, hiding the truth that his Auntie Clara was his real mother. For her career, I gave up on my own dreams, silently raising our child and remaining her secret lover. She always told me, "Ethan, just wait a little longer. Soon we can get officially married, and I'll introduce you to everyone in the country." So I waited, and waited. 1 year passed, then another. The baby was born, the baby grew up, the baby started preschool. I grew tired. On our son's 4th birthday, Clara managed to rush home by 8 p.m. We had a small birthday party, a rare occasion for our family to be together. Leo rarely saw his Auntie Clara, so he refused to go to bed and finally passed out from exhaustion around midnight. At 1 a.m., Leo developed a fever. It wouldn't go down. We rushed to the hospital. Even in the urgency of the moment, Clara took the time to disguise herself with a hat and a mask before we headed to the underground parking garage. It was pouring rain outside, drenching the city's neon lights into a blur. Rainwater pooled on the roads, reflecting the city's shimmering outline. Cars sped by, cutting through the scattered lights. I kept trying to comfort our child, who was restless and anxious. We finally got to the hospital entrance. We jumped out of the car, carrying our son toward the emergency room. Over the sound of the heavy rain, I heard the distinct click of camera shutters, a sound I had become used to hearing. It was so familiar that I could hear it even over the sound of a thunderstorm. Clara was familiar with it too. So familiar that she didn't even turn around. She just handed our son over to me. I dropped the umbrella and clumsily caught him in my arms. She dashed back into the car and drove away. Leo cried his eyes out as I stood there in the pouring rain holding him. The black umbrella rolled around on the wet ground beside me. Lightning streaked across the sky as the rain poured down, making everything difficult to see. Tears mingled with the rain, distorting everything in my vision. I watched her car getting further and further away in the blur. That night was like many other nights before it. I took our son to the hospital alone. I talked to the doctors, comforted our child, got his medicine, and sat with him through his shots and IV drips. Nothing was different. The only difference was that this time, I sat alone in the corner, a soaking wet mess, my heart aching so much it was hard to breathe. My phone rang constantly. I checked the caller ID and chose not to answer. By the morning, the rain had stopped, and the sky was a crystal clear blue. I quietly muttered to myself, "The sky in Africa should be this blue too, right?" When Leo woke up, I exhaustedly took him home in a cab. My phone lay in my bag, displaying 20 missed calls from Clara. Her last messages read, "Ethan, how's Leo? Has his fever gone down? What did the doctor say caused it?" Her words showed how worried she was, yet she never once showed up at the hospital, not even for a second. Her final message said, "I have to get to the set now." I lingered over the phone for a long time before replying. "Leo's okay." Clara is a deeply committed actor. Even in the dead of winter, if a director asked her to jump into a lake for a scene, she would do it without any hesitation. She was always on time for shoots, sometimes even arriving early, and never kept others waiting. If a scene wasn't perfect in her eyes, she would insist on reshooting it, even if it took over a dozen tries. But she was too ambitious, too dedicated. All of her time and energy went into her career, putting me and our child at the very bottom of her list of priorities. She canceled our plans time and time again, and each time I tolerated it. But I was growing weary. I couldn't help but text her, "Clara, I'm going to be applying to join a photography team for a magazine soon. To shoot animals, landscapes, and different cultures, you know. You'll need to look after our son." That afternoon, I received a message from her. "Thinking of going to Africa again? That place is dangerous and the conditions are tough. Why would you want to go there? Are you still upset about last night? I might be able to take some time off later to be with you both. Also, try not to go out for the next few days. Marcus will have people watching over you." Reading her response, I laughed bitterly. Clara had always been opposed to me going to Africa to photograph animals. But it was never just about Africa for me. I just wanted to follow my dream. It didn't matter where I went or what I photographed. I needed a platform for my creativity. It didn't have to be Africa. It could have been Europe, America, or even a small rural town here at home. She was free to chase her dreams, but I was expected to abandon mine, stay at home, and look after our child, waiting for someone who was never there. The phone pinged with news alerts. I opened it. There was news trending about Clara allegedly being secretly married. Some paparazzo was making bold claims that Clara was secretly wed. They listed a lot of clues, suggesting that Clara was hiding a partner and even a child. Among the attached photos was a blurry one from that rain-soaked night, showing Clara carrying Leo out of the car door while I held an umbrella, getting out from the other side. It was just two blurred backs, nothing identifiable. Clara's reaction had been smart. She didn't turn around, immediately handed over our son, lowered her head, got back in the car, and left to avoid being identified. Commenters mocked the idea, saying it just looked like a man taking a sick child to the hospital after calling a rideshare, where the driver might have helped with the child, not an actress hiding a secret marriage. "Ridiculous," they said. People didn't believe it. I felt a sense of relief for Clara, but that relief was quickly followed by a wave of pain. This scenario had played out many times before. She would break her promises, leave me and our son for her work, and always have valid reasons for doing so. I couldn't even blame her. To do so would make me seem unreasonable and demanding, but it hurt, a deepening hurt that was becoming unbearable. I anxiously followed the developing news. The paparazzo released more information, posting 2 clearer photos of Clara and me on a trip abroad, trying to confirm her secret marriage. One photo clearly showed her back, and her outfit matched one she wore on another public occasion, proving it was her. The issue snowballed. That night, Clara responded on a television show. "No secret marriage, no husband, and definitely no child, thank you." Her smile was calm, as if the whole thing was just a baseless rumor. I stared at her face on the screen, trying to find any sign of hesitation. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. After a jolt of pain in my chest, a profound calm swept over me. The next day, Marcus showed up at the house, demanding to place 2 bodyguards at our home and insisting that I stay inside the villa 24/7. I refused his demands. He was furious. "Do you have any idea that disobeying will cause major problems for Clara?" I replied, "I just want to live a normal life." He stared at me for a moment, then scoffed. "Don't think I don't know what you're up to. People like you wish the paparazzi would catch you so you could finally step out of the shadows. Dream on. Just stay out of trouble." "Daddy?" Leo clung to my leg, frightened. Marcus rubbed his head. "Good Lord, Clara, it's bad enough that you play around with men, but you actually had a child. You're giving me a lot of trouble here." I suppressed my anger and gently sent our son to play in his room. Once Leo was gone, I put on a cold expression and asked, "Even if they expose me and the kid, how much does it really affect her?" "Plenty," Marcus said. "She signed a singles contract. You guys absolutely cannot go public." I said, "She's definitely single." Marcus was momentarily taken aback. I spoke calmly. "She never married me from the start. She's always been single. She didn't break any agreement. She's very careful. She won't let me call her my wife, and she doesn't allow Leo to call her mom. Leo doesn't even know she's his mother." Marcus was silent for a moment, then laughed. "Good. That's as it should be." "Yes, as it should be," I echoed. I wanted to laugh, but couldn't. I told him, "I'm quitting." By noon, I had gone to the photography shop to resign. The manager tried his best to convince me to stay, but I was firm on leaving. Marcus was happy that I seemed to know my place and told me to stay put and not cause any more trouble for Clara. I said, "Okay." Then I headed to Leo's preschool to wrap things up there. The teacher was disappointed. "Why? Leo is fitting in so well here." I explained, "Leo's mom has settled in another city, so we have to move." "Oh, I see," the teacher said, wishing us the best as a family that was finally being reunited. I thanked her. Knowing that Leo wouldn't even be attending preschool anymore, Marcus was more than satisfied. A couple of days later, Leo had completely recovered from his fever. I packed our belongings, took off the ring Clara had given me, and set it on the nightstand. I glanced around the place we had lived in for a few years. Clara was never stingy with material things. Every item in the house was luxurious and exquisite. But this home didn't belong to me. Leo asked, "Daddy, shouldn't we tell Auntie Clara?" I patted his little head and said, "Auntie Clara's busy. Let's not bother her." "But I'll miss Auntie Clara," Leo said sadly. I replied, "She's just an aunt. We've been guests here for long enough, and now it's time for us to go." Leo nodded his little head. "Yeah, we shouldn't trouble other people for too long." I smiled faintly and took his small hand. "Let's go, Leo." "Okay," he said. Our departure was smooth. Marcus was off handling other matters for Clara and wasn't at the villa. Before we left, I glanced at the perfectly tended garden with its few camellia bushes. They say camellias bloom for longer than other flowers, for up to 7 months. My feelings for Clara had also lasted for 7 years. Flowers have their time to bloom, but even at their fullest and brightest, there always comes an end. I used to think that being with the person you love and overcoming all odds was the definition of happiness. But that happiness had slowly worn away in endless waiting and countless lonely days. On the road, I tried calling my family home again. "The number you have dialed is unreachable." Still couldn't get through. After our falling out, I had called often, but they had eventually blocked my number. I had even returned home once, only to be stopped at the door every time. I took Leo to a hotel we had booked and let him play at the playground he had been dreaming about. I thought they would notice we were gone quickly. But after 2 days, Clara still hadn't reached out. I didn't know if she hadn't noticed, or if she simply didn't care. "Dad, stop playing with your phone," Leo said, upset, as we were eating pizza. I was taken aback, put down my phone, and said, "Okay." It was strange. I had wanted to leave, yet here I was, waiting for a call. I had hoped to talk to her on the phone, to explain my resolve to break up. I had imagined so much, prepared long and detailed mental notes, but I never thought she just wouldn't reach out at all. It made me feel like a fool in a one-man show of unreciprocated affection. Honestly, over the years, I had been a fool, hadn't I? Thinking hard about it, what was there left to say? Nothing, really. Just a list of accusations against her. I could already foresee her defending herself out of necessity, with all sorts of valid excuses. And then we would just repeat the same familiar cycle of arguments that I could recite by heart, getting us nowhere. Talking doesn't actually mean anything. My feelings don't amount to much in the grand scheme of her career. Repeating trivial complaints in her ear won't change her mind. It will just seem baffling to her. Why even bother? I laughed, feeling relieved, and deleted all of Clara's contact information. I also blocked anyone associated with her. Breaking away from the entertainment world isn't hard. Saying it's hard is just a lie. In this age where everyone is chasing attention, unless you are deliberately marketing yourself, who would care if someone is in or out of the limelight or what they're doing? Someone like me, just a regular person, goes completely unnoticed. As long as Clara doesn't see us, even if Leo and I ran naked in the streets, it would only draw a few laughs, not cause a ripple. I want Leo and me to live a normal life, and I want Clara to be able to focus on her work. If we part ways and don't see each other again, that's the best solution. We knew this from the very beginning, but for the sake of so-called love, we forced things, just causing trouble and tiring everyone out. It's better this way. We're both free. I took Leo back to my hometown, only to get shut out again. My mother is a strong-willed woman. She means what she says. She's a self-made businesswoman, known locally for always honoring her word. She said she didn't want me as her son, and she really meant it. To her, reputation is everything, and her son is a blemish on her reputation and career, so she just doesn't want me. She will throw away anything that hinders her career, even her own family. My mother and Clara are alike in this way. Of course, I was the one who wronged my family first, so I can swallow my pride and beg over and over again. But I never wronged Clara, so I walked away pretty decisively. "Mom, Dad, Sis, Leo and I came back to see you," I shouted from outside the villa. The yard was quiet. There was no response. I left the gifts we had brought at the gate and walked away with Leo. Leo felt uneasy. "Do Grandma and Grandpa not like me?" I patted his head and said, "They will like you, because Leo is an awesome kid. Leo is my precious boy." Every year I brought him here, and every time the door remained shut. I made mistakes, and being ignored is something I have to live with. But Leo did nothing wrong. He shouldn't have to go through this. So, from now on, I won't bring him back here again. On the road, I received a call from an unknown number. When I picked it up, I heard a familiar voice. "Ethan, where did you take Leo? Marcus mentioned you've been gone for 2 days." "Back home," I said shortly. A few days ago, I had so much I wanted to say, just waiting for her call to spill it all out. But now, I had no words. It was like those years we had spent together had devolved from endless conversations and shared laughter and tears to simple smiles and mentions of work or our son, and then finally, to silence. An invisible wall now stood between us. Some people say that couples with too much of a gap between them will eventually break apart. I didn't believe it before, but now I do. She stepped into a dazzling world, while I stayed behind. Less communication led to less understanding, and all that was left was silence. I guess that's what it means to have no common ground. "You should take a break." On the other end of the line, she paused, then cautiously asked, "When will you be back?" I said, "I'm not coming back." "Not coming back?" "Yeah." I turned to look out the car window at the evening sky, where the sharp silhouettes of buildings split the sunset in two. The view was breathtaking. See, there's nothing that can't be divided. When it's split apart, it can even feel kind of beautiful. Clara, we're breaking up. Don't come to see us anymore. You can focus on your career. I leaned back in my seat. Wait until the day you let Leo call you Mom. Then you can come see him. Though honestly, I hope you never see him, just to keep him from being confused. I hung up and blocked the number again. The next day I took Leo to City S. I had sent a resume to a magazine there before, hoping to do some model photography. The photos in my portfolio were ones I had taken of Clara. It's kind of funny, really. Besides shooting her, I had only ever taken passport photos. The only impressive work I had was of Clara. The magazine hired me. That's how I started working there as a photographer. A real creative kind of photographer, not just snapping passports all day. I rented a place, found a new kindergarten, and got Leo enrolled. He was so understanding. "Dad, don't worry, I'll be good," he said. I felt a lump in my throat and hugged him lightly. "Remember, besides me, don't go with anyone." "What about Auntie Clara?" he asked. "Not even her," I said. The buzz around Clara's secret marriage was dying down. She's extremely cautious, and the paparazzi couldn't find any solid evidence. A few random shots from behind couldn't prove a thing. I deleted tons of apps from my phone and turned off all notifications. The gossip no longer mattered to me. Life became calm. Without Clara, I didn't have to worry about paparazzi, wish for her to return, or be stuck in a photo studio all day. It was nice. I didn't go to Africa to shoot wildlife. Having a child makes work trickier. But I didn't mind. Starting out as a photographer, success didn't come easily, and the pay was low. This industry thrives on connections. With referrals, jobs are plentiful, and life is good. Without them, it's slim pickings from the magazine's offers. Luckily, my skills impressed people, especially my portraits. I started getting private clients, taking on freelance jobs here and there. I also found some online gigs, and my pay quickly jumped from $200 to $800 per job. I'm not a big-name photographer, but it was enough to live on and buy Leo some cool clothes. Soon, some up-and-coming celebrities started turning to me for their photo shoots. They couldn't afford the famous photographers, so they would try me out. I treated every client equally, putting my best effort into their photos. I would pick the best angles and moments, driven to make them look like stars. If the photos didn't turn out great, I'd reshoot them until they were perfect, much to their frustration. Yet, they relished this struggle. Seeing their excitement over the final shots gave me a real sense of achievement. I always made sure to leave work on time to pick up Leo. My career is important, but so is my family. I don't want Leo to wait for me like I used to wait for Clara. Being late has a snowball effect. Once you're late for pickup, it soon repeats. Before long, someone else might have to take over. Then maybe I wouldn't return at all, leaving Leo with a nanny, just like Clara did. Punctuality turned into unreliability, which then turned into no-shows, each time with an excuse. I could tell Leo I had work and might be late, but I refused to. If I were to declare that work was causing delays, Leo would likely say it's fine, but he'd be upset inside. Life went on, calm yet fulfilling. Not long after, I had a photo set go viral online. The star was a young celebrity whose schoolgirl pictures had made her famous, dubbing her the National School Beauty. "Ethan, you're a lifesaver. I want to treat you to dinner," she said excitedly over the phone. I couldn't decline and accepted her offer. Her name was Sophie, and she was full of sweetness and charm, with cute dimples that appeared when she smiled. Just judging by her face, you might think she's the girl next door. But in reality, she's tall with a cool aura, a total contrast. When I first saw her, I wanted to capture that contrast in a photo shoot to really showcase her unique qualities. Sure enough, once the photos were out and had some marketing behind them, she blew up. At dinner, she kept praising my work. After a bit of alcohol, I loosened up. "No need to thank me," I said. "I got paid. Highlighting your unique features was my job. Plus, photos need good marketing and a bit of luck. The right timing, the right place, and the right people to truly go viral." Sophie poured me another drink. "Other photographers tried your concept, but they all failed. Your photos had the impact we needed to market them successfully. You're really talented." It was the first time a client had complimented me so sincerely. I raised my glass with a smile. "Cheers to your bright future." She raised her glass too. "And to your dreams coming true." I paused. Dreams coming true? I found myself liking this 21-year-old girl. Later, Sophie introduced me to many commercial gigs, mostly for her friends. They were mostly trainees, small-time celebrities, or influencers. Their photos didn't get as famous as Sophie's, but given my rates, they were always satisfied. As time went by, Sophie and I grew closer. She reminded me a lot of Clara. After struggling for so long, she had seized her chance and was climbing up without letting any opportunity slip by. Now, she had snagged a second lead role in an A-grade TV show. She said I was her good luck charm and invited me, "Ethan, will you be my go-to photographer?" I nodded with a slight smile. "Sure, as long as the pay is right." I'm past being impulsive. I used up all my passion on Clara. No matter how intensely anyone pursues something now, I remain calm. Sophie's success made me a hit in the photography world, with offers pouring in like a blizzard. One offer was particularly tempting. They offered me $10,000 for a single shoot with a celebrity. That was a pretty sweet deal. I replied, "I understand, but I have a child. I can only shoot locally, and I need to be finished by 4 p.m. They said it was fine. I happily went to the location. When I went inside, a familiar, graceful silhouette stood by the window, with the sunlight outlining her glowing figure. It was Clara. I turned to leave. "Ethan!" Clara ran over and grabbed me. "Let go!" We were alone in the room. She hugged me tightly. I took a deep breath and stopped resisting. "Clara, let go." "No," she said. "Ethan, you're so heartless to leave me. I've been looking for you." She accused me. I turned my head, and seeing her relieved expression, I felt conflicted inside. "Clara, we're already done," I said. "I didn't agree." "We should have broken up long ago." "Stop saying that," she said, holding on tight. I let her hug me. Feeling her embrace, I couldn't recapture that old feeling. Once camellias bloom, they eventually wither. Love fades, and emotions vanish. Those once moving and joyful hugs no longer stirred any warmth in me. Clara whispered words of love into my ear, asking me to come back. I listened to her go on and on, saying nothing. Her grip was tight, and it hurt a bit. After a while, I asked, "Can Leo call you Mom openly?" She fell silent. I asked again, "Can we get married openly?" She was silent for a long time, then said with difficulty, "Ethan, just give me more time." I pushed her hands off me. This time it didn't take much strength, and I easily moved her away. You see, no matter how much she says she loves me, when it comes to her future, she can let go. "Why do you think you deserve more time?" I asked her. "What gave you the idea that I would wait for you forever? That I would always want to marry you? Just because you're successful, an award-winning actress who earns more, and I'm just an ordinary guy, you expect me to always wait silently in the shadows and come when you call? Or is it because you think you're so much better than me that I should sacrifice everything for you, like a servant to a queen?" Clara stayed silent. "Or is it because you're an award-winning actress, and because you lured me here and hugged and kissed me without my consent, it's not considered harassment? The law makes you innocent?" Clara's eyes widened. She seemed shocked by my coldness. Ethan, you know I don't mean that. We're broken up, Clara, I said. Clara got angry. But I'm Leo's mom. I felt a sting behind my eyes. Clara, we were never married from start to finish. Leo has been raised entirely by me. I'm Ethan, and he's Leo. It was you who didn't want him calling you Mom, to keep your secret, telling him you were just his aunt. Now you say he's your son. Are you brave enough to own that? Clara's lips moved, but no words came out. I stared at her, continuing. I don't need you to marry me or publicly announce that I'm your boyfriend. I don't care about any of that anymore. Just publicly acknowledge that Leo is your son, and then you can see him as his mom. Can you do that? Silence filled the room. Sunlight streamed in through the window, lighting up half the room while leaving the other half in darkness. Clara stood at the line between the light and the dark, her face shadowed. She didn't answer, but by not answering, she already had. I wiped away my tears and walked out. That Wednesday, I picked up Leo after school, and as we were making our way home, a familiar figure blocked our path outside the apartment building. It was Marcus. He didn't look happy. Clara wants to see you. His gaze at me was like looking at a piece of gum stuck to the bottom of his shoe. I said no. Marcus was angry. What are you trying to pull? You were supposed to be lying low, but instead you run off to City S to become a photographer, and you got famous. Are you trying to wreck Clara's career? I paused, then continued walking away without looking back. Did you hear me? He pursued me and grabbed my arm. Leo screamed, Dad! I forcefully pushed Marcus off of me. He looked at me, astonished. Stay away from me and my kid. If I see you again, I'll spill the beans about me and Clara right here on the street. Marcus hesitated for a minute and then said, You wouldn't do that. You've been watching her kids for years, just waiting for the chance to be with her openly. You wouldn't ruin her. I replied, That was before, not anymore. Marcus frowned. Okay, you win. This whole playing hard to get thing has completely driven Clara crazy. She's turned down a lot of gigs these past 2 months, looking for you everywhere. You've got what you wanted now, so just stop playing games. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. It connected in a second. Ethan? Tell your people to stop bothering me and Leo, I said calmly. Clara, I'm not some appendage of yours, nor am I playing any kind of reverse psychology game. And I'm not going to stay put in some villa 24/7. We broke up. If you're really so terrified that I or Leo will damage your career, you can simply choose never to see us again. Even if I went out on the street and told everyone that Leo is your son, without any proof, no one would believe it. I glanced at Marcus, who looked completely confused. I continued, Maybe you should just hire a hitman, stage an accident, and make me and Leo disappear from this world. That would make things easier for you, wouldn't it? You know I would never do something like that. Why would you say that just to stab at me? Clara asked. Did Marcus find you? She questioned. I didn't want to hear any more of this nonsense and hung up. I said calmly to Marcus, I've already talked to Clara. We've broken up. It's not just some spat. If you bother me again, I will call the police. Marcus looked shocked. No way. How could you possibly give up on someone as amazing as Clara? Even I? He stopped abruptly. It dawned on me that Marcus had feelings for Clara, which was why he had always been so hostile toward me. Do you like her? Then go after her. I don't mind. I shrugged as I took Leo's hand and walked into our apartment building. Marcus didn't follow us. Dad? Leo said worriedly, tugging on my hand. That man came again. What's his relationship with Aunt Clara? Are we causing her any trouble? My heart ached a little. I crouched down to hug him. No, honey. We've already moved on. We won't be bothering Aunt Clara anymore. That night, after Leo went to sleep, I sat by the window, gazing out at the city's neon lights. I thought about it for a long time and decided not to move. Why should I have to hide for people who don't even matter in my life anymore? What have I done wrong to deserve living my life on the run? Standing by the little bed and looking at Leo's peaceful, sleeping face, I smiled softly. I may have lost Clara and my family, but I'm not broken. I already have the love of my life right here. My dear son. For him, I need to stay strong and keep moving forward. I threw myself into my work like a madman. I saved up every penny to buy a house. I wanted to settle down in City S. It's a city full of opportunities. Even if I only have a small place to call my own, I'll be happy. I don't need to live in a fancy big house while feeling empty inside. People like Marcus won't be able to see me as someone who leeches off women, thinking so little of me. I won't be looked at with that hidden disdain, like some bodyguard might. Some people might think that money solves everything, but that's not me. I value my dignity more than money. I want to achieve my own dreams. Plus, I've never lacked material things. Living lavishly is hard, but taking care of myself and my child has never been an issue. Chasing your dreams when you're nearly 30 might seem late to some, but hey, I just need to seize the time I have and not waste it on regrets. I need to focus my energy to passionately pursue my goals, just like I did when I gave my all for love. I can now do the same for my dreams. I made mistakes, and I'll face the consequences of them. Then, I'll get back up and keep moving forward. My schedule was packed every day, but I always made time for my child. Leo was very understanding. He told me, "Dad, you don't have to struggle to pick me up. My auntie can take care of me." I hugged him and said, "Picking you up, Leo, is never a struggle." Leo then said, "Dad, working and taking care of me must be really hard, right? I want to help you somehow." I replied, "It's not hard at all, because I need you, Leo. As long as you're with me, I'm full of energy. Don't feel like you need to do anything. Your existence alone gives me joy and happiness." Leo happily kissed me. We hugged each other tightly. The happiness I once felt with Clara had slipped away without me even realizing it. Now, I had found it once again with my son. His presence alone brings me joy. I continued to work like mad, saving every penny. Only with enough savings could I pursue my dreams without any worry. Sophie had told me I was her lucky charm. Now, she had become mine. A supporting role she played in a movie became a huge hit, raising her status significantly. Her breakthrough photo at that key moment in her life was extremely crucial. Many people now came to me because of my reputation. Sophie introduced bigger clients to me as well. My rates increased, which led me to resign from the magazine I had been working for and become a freelance photographer. I earned a huge amount of money. I quickly saved enough for a down payment on a house. As my status in the industry climbed, people started treating me with the utmost respect. Even when I had to take Leo to work with me at the photography studio, no one complained. Leo grew fond of photography and would play with the gear whenever he could. When possible, I taught him some things. While I worked, he would play with the cameras, taking pictures of everything, just like I did when I was a kid. Sometimes he'd mess around and break harmless things, but no one dared to say anything. Because I was a top photographer, people with high skills and status always get special treatment. Maybe I once thought that having a well-known actress as a wife would give me that kind of privilege, but the status I've earned through my own hard work makes me even prouder. Now I know that great people help each other grow, like Sophie and me. But with Clara, I was forced to hide my wings and become invisible at home. She didn't respect me as an equal. Love had made me blind to reality, dragging me down for years. Now, stepping out of that situation and reflecting on it, I can see how irrational I was. I don't care how she saw me before. I loved her, and I have no regrets about that. Leaving her, I have no regrets about that either. I love fiercely, and I stand firm. Sometimes I would spot Clara sitting in a car outside my apartment, incognito. I knew her too well and could spot her instantly. Seeing me and Leo, she would get out of the car, saying quietly, "Ethan, Leo." Her disguise was too good, and Leo didn't recognize her, just looking puzzled. I would chuckle and say loudly, "How fortunate to run into you here." People around us would glance over, and she would quickly duck back into her car, too shy to speak to me. We would lock eyes through the trees, my smile mocking her. She seemed embarrassed and would drive away. As my status continued to rise, I met bigger stars. Occasionally, I would run into Clara at the studio. She would be lingering nearby, complimenting my photography as if we had never loved each other or had a child together. Her eyes would be bright, wanting to talk more. I would just shake my camera and say, "Clara, I have work to do." She would leave, looking disappointed. A few days later, Marcus cornered me in the restroom. "Ethan, she really loves you. You should get back together," he said. I washed my hands, watching his tired face in the mirror. "You like her, so why are you telling me this?" I asked coldly. After a pause, he explained, "I've followed her for years. She's stayed true, never been with another man even in showbiz. With her beauty, status, and wealth, nobody would believe it. She's clean in a messy world. I couldn't help but admire her." He continued, "When I learned about you, I was so jealous, and I treated you badly. I'm sorry." "Understood," I said after rinsing my hands. Richard added, "She's had a tough road. Without strong backing, she's had to be careful at every single step. You saw her at her lowest point. You should know how hard it's been for her. Her work is her life. She's been loyal to you. So why can't you understand her?" Calmly, I replied, "I get why she struggled, which is why I broke up with her. Trying to reconcile would just complicate things for both of us." I left, focused on my job. I had no time for irrelevant people. Marcus didn't approach me again. Clara didn't either. Within 2 years, I bought a house. The timing and circumstances were perfect. Housing prices had dropped, and I had saved enough to buy a nice place for Leo and me. I celebrated with Sophie and some new friends. I told her, "If you're busy, don't worry about coming." But she insisted, "You gotta come." That evening, Sophie made it. She was busy, yet she still showed up, which made me question why Clara used to cancel so often. We had dinner at my new place. Leo held a camera, snapping pictures of all of us. His angles and the feel of his photos were spot on, just like mine. Leo was in 2nd grade now, and a global photography contest was starting. He maturely told me, "Dad, go capture your dreams around the world. I'll work on mine here." I used to think I had to stay with him until he was 18 before I could travel the world for my photography. Then, Leo told me I didn't need to do that. Doing so would only become a burden for him. He said, "Didn't you say that helping each other is important? Love means supporting each other. I'm supporting your dream now, and you'll support mine later. Go ahead, Dad." I burst into tears, my eyes red. After weeks of discussions, Leo stood firm and showed me that he could handle things independently, even getting along well with his aunt. He finally convinced me. Sometimes I wondered if I was often away from him but still claimed to love him. Was I not just like Clara? How could I blame her when I was doing the same thing? Leo said, "Dad, it's different." "How?" "I can proudly call you Dad. You can take me out anytime you want. If I'm sick, you won't leave me. We can call each other every day." Stunned, I asked, "Do you know about Auntie Clara?" He nodded. "Yeah, she's my mom." For years, Leo hadn't pushed the subject of his mother. I thought he had just adjusted, but he knew all along. Unbeknownst to me, he had gone from a clueless child to a sharp little man. I barely remember things from before I was 3, but after that, I recall a lot, like when I had a fever and she left me to avoid the paparazzi, or when Uncle Marcus locked us in the house. I didn't get it then, but I do now. She had me call her auntie. And that's all she'll ever be to me. I hugged him tight. His support gave me the confidence I needed. I decided to head to Africa for the photography competition. On the day I left, the sky above the airport was bright and clear. Leo waved goodbye to me through the sound of the plane engines. "Goodbye, Dad." "Goodbye, Leo." I turned with some team members from the Geography magazine and walked into the terminal. As we passed by the large glass windows, I saw my reflection. I was dressed in sleek black sportswear, carrying my gear on my back, with a camera hanging around my neck. I paused for a moment, lost in thought. My friend called out, "Ethan!" I snapped out of it and caught up with them in a few quick steps. The more I walked, the bigger my smile grew. A dream of mine from years ago was finally coming true. 2 months later, I returned home. Africa was full of thrilling and unforgettable experiences. I took photos that I was incredibly proud of. I found I liked photographing animals more, but my talent still shone through when photographing people. I loved photographing people too. People's souls are reflected in their appearance, their aura, and every move they make. A photographer's job is to capture that one special moment. I chose my favorite photo, a portrait from the Long Tongue tribe titled "Lion and Man," and sent it to the contest judges. Back home, I spent all my time playing with Leo. We had stayed in touch regularly while I was in Africa. Unless there was a network glitch, I always made sure to let him know I was safe. Now that I was back home, we spent half a month together, just enjoying each other's company. Sophie called one day. "Ethan, when are you going to be my personal photographer, as you promised?" I thought about it and replied with a smile, "Next month." After hanging out with Leo, I became Sophie's personal photographer. She had just finished filming a movie and was starting a road show, and I followed her, capturing many beautiful shots. In recent years, she had become pretty famous, just like Clara had been back in the day. She also started doing movies and had gotten some good reviews. We became good friends. When the annual Golden Dove Awards came around, I went with Sophie to get more shots. One of her movies had been nominated, and she had a good chance of winning Best Actress. The award ceremony was all glitz and glamour. Celebrities and famous people were everywhere. I saw Clara. She seemed more poised and mature, exuding a classy presence. When she saw me, she paused for a second, but quickly composed herself. I gave her a calm look and turned away. Wendy was talking to me, and I caught Clara's jealous gaze. I felt nothing and went inside with Wendy. The awards started. As it reached its peak, the host announced the nominees for Best Actress: Sophie, Clara, and another actress. The host, who was an actor himself, stretched out the announcement for dramatic effect. The room was silent. "Clara." Sophie showed a fleeting look of disappointment, but soon clapped with a genuine smile. Clara went up on stage to receive the award and gave her speech. After thanking a bunch of people, she said, "Besides those I've mentioned, I'd like to thank someone else." She thanked someone who had supported her growth. She said it was her third major award, and she had once promised herself that she would fulfill his wish after winning 3. The room buzzed with curiosity. The host asked, "Who is this person?" Clara held the trophy up and said, "He is my boyfriend, my future husband. Yes, I have a boyfriend, and we have a son." The crowd gasped. The revelation that Clara secretly had a boyfriend and a son nearly broke the internet. I was there and was a bit surprised, but not much more than that. Offering me something I no longer needed didn't move me. It was funny that she called it my wish. It was once, but not anymore. Sophie was shocked and curious. Wow, Clara's secret marriage is real, and she even has a son. I wonder who the boyfriend is. I said, "Yeah, who could it be?" Sophie asked, "You think he's in the industry or not?" I shrugged. No idea. A couple of days later, Clara drove up to my place. This time there were no disguises. She got out of the car boldly and walked up to me as I was picking up Leo from school. "Ethan." She took out a fancy box. "Will you spend your life with me?" People around us nearly dropped their jaws. Leo looked up at me. Clara's eyes were filled with hope. The autumn breeze brushed across our faces, bringing a touch of coolness. I said, "Clara, we broke up. I won't be with you." Clara's grand proposal dragged Leo and me into a storm of trouble. Waves of reporters swarmed us, trying to interview me. I just took Leo and hid away in the mountains for a while. Sophie called. "Ethan, you really are my big brother, making connections with such a big shot." I replied, "So, dating Clara makes me a big shot? Wasn't I one already?" No, that's not what I meant," Sophie said. "I mean, it's just such a surprise. Do you understand how shocked I am?" I laughed and shared a few words with her, making it clear how I felt about Clara. She was surprised, but understood. Even my mom called me. "You're dating Clara, and she's got a kid? Why didn't you say anything?" she complained on the phone, saying that if she had known, things wouldn't have been so tense between us. I said, "Whoever I'm dating, isn't it still your son? It's the same situation. So why is your attitude so different now?" She replied, "But it's Clara." I hung up, smiling wryly. How I once dreamed of openly being Clara's husband. Now I no longer needed to be, but Clara was suddenly willing, bringing a lot of unwanted hassle my way. After some time, I got news from the photography contest. They informed me that I had won first place and was invited to Switzerland to accept the award. This outcome thrilled me. I flew to Switzerland with Leo. The reporters were all over me, snapping photos and asking about my story with Clara, not caring a bit about my work. I was a little annoyed and didn't respond. On stage, I accepted the award and made a speech. I thought about it and thanked Leo first. Then I said, "Back home, everyone seems to be shocked that I'm Clara's ex-boyfriend. But we split up years ago and we won't be getting back together. I won this award on my own merits, and it is completely unrelated to her. As for my son, I trust that he will make his own decisions when he's older. I hope that people will respect me and focus on my career, not on whose boyfriend I am." Once I was done, I walked off the stage. I have my own life, separate from Clara. Our paths parted long ago and have been moving further and further apart ever since. When the news hit back home, it caused quite a stir. Nobody thought it was strange anymore that I had turned down Clara. After all, I had won a highly prestigious global photography award. I was a renowned photographer in the industry. My family and I reconnected, but we could never go back to the way things were. Leo started going out with Clara sometimes, and I didn't ask about it. He's mature now and has his own thoughts. Whatever he chooses, I'll support him. Clara started openly pursuing me. I used to chase after her, but now it was her chasing me. It was kind of ironic. I still haven't agreed. One day she caught up with me at the park, asking, "Ethan, is there really no way we can go back to the way things were?" I pointed to a nearby camellia bush and said, "Like smoke, the flowers have already wilted. Between us, just like those flowers, things have scattered into emptiness, never to return." I looked at her, my heart completely untouched. With the wind blowing, the clouds dispersed. The love had vanished long ago in this endless season. Clara looked at me, tears streaming down her face. After that, she stopped reaching out. Perhaps she finally realized that we were over for good. Many people don't understand why I can't take Clara back. I don't need them to understand. After the camellia blooms and fades, I stand alone in my own glory. It's about me, for me, and not for anyone else.